And with that, I want to yield some time to my neighbor and good friend who knows a fair bit about the energy industry himself. In fact, I have to admit the Bakken was actually discovered in the state of Montana. I recognize Mr. Daines.
Thank you very much, and I'm grateful for my good friend from North Dakota, Kevin Kramer, for this time talking about what's really important to the people out in the heartland, which sometimes is a very different set of values from what we find right here in the Beltway of Washington. And I was also struck by my good friend from Kentucky, Andy Barr, as he shared his comments. It reminds me that we are the party, we are the leaders back here standing for the working middle class in this country, standing for jobs, for revenues that go to our schools in the tax base, for low-cost energy. This president says one thing, but the consequences of his policy is something that will only ultimately benefit the elite and the wealthy in this country instead of the regular working families of this country. And I want to thank my friends here today for organizing this special order and bringing attention to the importance of America's energy sector to our economy and to the daily lives of all Americans. And in Montana, we know the importance of a robust energy sector, whether it's oil, gas, coal, wind, water, biomass. It's all needed to create jobs and keep energy costs low for people of our country. In fact, one of my priorities in Congress is to fight for the all-of-the-above energy plan that helps grow American jobs, lower energy costs, and help us fight for North American energy independence, energy security. Unfortunately, President Obama does not seem to share this goal. In fact, yesterday, when President Obama unveiled his latest energy plan, a job-killing agenda that will hurt American jobs and American families and small businesses. After his announcement yesterday, President Obama made a commitment to waging war on American energy. That was made crystal clear with his announcement yesterday. In fact, by imposing further barriers to the construction of the Keystone XL pipeline and working to severely hinder American coal production, President Obama has unveiled a misguided agenda that will only hurt Montana and American energy consumers and cost good-paying Montana jobs. Montana's energy sector is a huge driver to our state's economy. In fact, our coal mining industry employs over 1,200 workers across our state. Montana contains more coal reserves than any other state in America and ranks number 6 overall in coal production nationwide. Additionally, coal production provides critical funding for Montana schools, as much of our state's coal is located in school trust lands. We forget about the contributions to our tax base and helping build schools and fund teachers, which comes from the energy industry. Development of our coal reserves produces millions, let me say that again, millions of dollars for Montana public education every year. My daughter is a senior at Montana State University, preparing to graduate and go into elementary education in Montana. Energy production is critical to funding our schools, our public schools in Montana as we look down the road. We've also seen tremendous growth from the booming development of the Bakken Formation, as my friend from North Dakota alluded to, which spreads across eastern Montana and into western North Dakota. Oil production in our state has created thousands of good-paying jobs, both in the oil fields and also in the service industries that are at the heart of many of our small towns. I would like to have the President come out to eastern Montana and see what's happening out there. Families are struggling, living month to month, and seeing the benefits now of the energy industry as they're now seeing a paycheck they can count on looking forward. It's injected millions of dollars in our state's economy, and like coal, has helped provide millions of dollars in much-needed funding for Montana schools. Recent reports show that Bakken oil production currently accounts for 11% of the total U.S. oil production and accounts for 40% of increased oil production nationwide. And if the Keystone XL pipeline is built, it would be able to move up to 100,000 barrels of oil. That's Montana and North Dakota oil per day from our very own Bakken Formation. Mr. President, I'm in favor for Made in America energy. Montana's natural resources like coal and oil not only provide our state and nation with quality American energy, they are helping keep the utility costs low for hardworking American taxpayers. Montana gets more than half its power from coal. That helps keep electric rates low. We see some electric cars driving down the highways today in our towns. And I'm not opposed to electric cars, but if the truth be known, we ought to have a sticker in the back that says, this electric car likely powered by coal. The average retail price in Montana is currently 8.4 cents per kilowatt hour, among the lowest in the nation. The construction of the Keystone XL pipeline, on the other hand, would also have a tremendous impact on energy prices for Montanans. In fact, not too long ago, I was traveling around our state. I'm the only member of Congress for the state of Montana. It's a privilege to represent an entire state. I was up in Glasgow, Montana, meeting with the Norval Electric Co-op. I learned that the Norval Electric Co-op is expected to supply power for one of the Keystone pump stations. If the Keystone pipeline is built, it will help Norval keep their customers' electric rates stable for the next 10 years. Think about that. 10 years of no increase. Contrast that to if the pipeline is not built, Norval expects that their rates will grow upwards of 40% over the next decade. Mr. President, these customers at Norval live month to month. They live paycheck to paycheck. This is what's helping American middle-class, hardworking taxpayers survive, is by expanding our energy production. By declaring a war on energy right now, you're declaring a war on American families who are struggling every month to make ends meet. For most Montanans who live on tight budgets, unlike a lot of the folks around here in Washington, D.C., and Montanans who track and where their paycheck is going, a 40% increase in utility rates would be devastating. Unfortunately, under President Obama's agenda, that's very well that could happen. President Obama's war on coal would severely hinder coal production in Montana and the jobs that rely on this important industry. It would be a serious blow to Montana families and small businesses who rely on coal as a reliable source for affordable electricity. And just as bad, this job-killing agenda will be imposed through unilateral action, demonstrating that the President is more set on achieving his own political goals rather than listening to the will of the American people or working to create much-needed jobs. Mr. President, the people of America are focused on paying their bills every month. That's a higher priority to them than your priority, and that is winning an election in 2014. By sidestepping Congress and public scrutiny, President Obama will set his agenda in motion through costly regulations and more red tape and bureaucratic hoops. These roadblocks won't just hurt the coal industry, as we know President Obama and his advisors seek to do. These regulations will hurt hard-working American taxpayers who rely on American energy each and every day. Let me be clear. President Obama's agenda isn't just a war on coal. This is a war on Montana energy, on Montana families, on Montana small businesses and Montana jobs, and it must be stopped. I will remain steadfast in this fight to stop the President's job-killing agenda, and I look forward to working with my colleagues here today on common-sense policies that grow American energy and help create the good-paying jobs that the American people desperately need. I yield back the balance of my time.
I thank the gentleman.